And then what about Blackburn Rovers? Obviously, that was sort of the first unique winner of its time.
I could leave Blackburn out because it was very much exciting at the time, but it was bought and there were nothing before it and there'd not really been anything after it. I'd rather have a Norwich City.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm joined today by a very special guest to do a very special thing. There's a lot of chat online about what is the ultimate Premier League, which 20 teams make up that division. Well, there's a man that's been there since the very start, since football started in 1992. And
I thought you were going to say something else.
Steady you. And I think we've both been in eras that have peaked in the Premier League. So for you, obviously the 90s, and for me, that sort of early 2004, 2002 system. So Mark Goldbridge, how are you?
I'm good, and I think you raise a good point because I do remember the Premier League like some people from its inception. I remember Leeds winning the final Division 1. I remember the first Premier League. Obviously, Manchester United won it, and I know it like the back of my hand. And unlike those hipsters who weren't even out their mum's chuff when Scholes was playing in his prime, I can compare Scholes to De Bruyne with knowledge of watching them. But I do agree that my Premier League elite 20 teams will be different to yours because there's some that for me have to go in because for me I see them as traditional Premier League clubs that I would love to see back.
Yes, I love that. So for this as well, this is all very subjective, so make sure you get your 20 in down below. Drop a subscribe as well, that really helps me out, and a like. But this is all subjective, so my criteria that I've come up with are teams that have made memories and really sort of go back to that, maybe a bit of nostalgia, team that have a decent fan base, and a team that would add something now. So they've got to maybe...
What about geography? Would lovely to have a club from Cornwall, maybe.
Well, you know, that part of the world is neglected.
Yeah.
And if you get down there, it's a tough place to go down to Land's End. And you've got to go and get something and get a result. So
stuck on the bloody M5
exactly.
and all those little windy roads.
Imagine when it's a bank holiday or a half term.
Yeah.
You're trying to get a coach down there. It's absolutely terrible.
You beat before you get there.
What was there anything that you'd add criteria-wise to that?
Jokings apart, I think geography, you could consider a Bristol. Rovers or a City, because that is a massive city in the UK that people might not realise because it's completely and utterly irrelevant when it comes to top level football. They've never had a Premier League side from Bristol, and Bristol is probably in the top 10 populous cities in the English country.
And you mentioned geography as well. Derbies, I think, are a big important thing. So some of
Derby.
No,
derbies.
Spoiler alert: Derby are not in my ultimate Premier League.
Not in mine either.
But derbies are a massive thing. So there's ones in here I've maybe thought of not adding them in because of that, but it's definitely helped. So should we run through the ones that are obviously going to be here?
Yeah.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham as a top 6.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd argue about there? We're all happy with that.
Yeah, we're happy with that.
Also, if there was an era for this to be played in, for me, it would be that early 2000s.
Probably late 90s for me, but it's not far off.
Well, I just want because I want the ball, the total 90 ball, with the yellow one, and that's when, when we go back for nostalgia, when the long shots to goal of the month competition were always flying in.
But for me, it would be the 90s because that was the best time to live.
Just in general,
football, music, film,
sex.
Politics,
rock and roll,
everything about the 90s.
Corned beef ash. Then after that, I've gone Aston Villa, Everton.
The inception of the Premier League was very exciting as well.
Yeah.
Like the start of the Premier League, it would be crap compared to today, but we had no football. We had one game a week and then highlights, and then suddenly you were getting Super Sunday, sometimes Monday Night Football.
I've seen some of
loads and loads and loads of coverage, and it was like Soccer Saturday was revolutionary.
Yeah,
so it was a very exciting time.
And they tried to Americanise it a bit, didn't they? Like their cheerleaders. I remember there's a video of like cheerleaders like Sheffield Wednesday on a Tuesday night, and it's like some things work and some things don't work. So the next bit I've got is sort of those staples of the Premier League, but with one that aren't a staple. But I'd put Villa, Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham in that sort of. Not a massive club, but could be a massive club. Big fan bases. So the big one there, in addition to what we've got now, is Leeds United. Would you have them in there?
Well, there was two big hitters that I would bring from the Championship straight away, and Leeds was one of them because obviously big rivalry with Manchester United, which I like the rivalries, and also they, I think Leeds were obviously big before my time in the 70s, but they were also a good team at the start. Well, for about 10 years. I don't remember, actually. They won it, then they didn't. They won it in 91.
Then they had the big David O'Leary era, didn't they?
Yeah, and then the
Champions
David
League.
O'Leary era. So, yeah, Leeds for me would be a would be a staple in there, yeah.
And then underneath that, this is where I think the debate goes. So I've got broken down these debates into sort of 2 to 3 different areas. So where do we stand on unique winners? So Leicester City and Blackburn Rovers have obviously won the Premier League. For some people out there, it might be you, these guys have to be in the Premier League because they've won it. Now, do you think Leicester City should be in an ultimate Premier League?
I think you can't have too many Midlands teams, because I'm from the Midlands and I'm from the East Midlands as well. And you can't have too many. Like, you can't have Leicester, Derby, Forest and
Coventry.
You can't have all of them. Like, you can have 2 max. So if you put in Leicester in...
Well, I've got Leicester and Forest.
Yeah, I'd probably go with those 2, but you can't have Coventry or Derby in.
No.
Yeah.
And then what about Blackburn Rovers? Obviously, that was sort of the first unique winner of its time.
But...
for me, I've not got them in.
I could leave Blackburn out, because it was very much exciting at the time, and they had some nice kits, but it was bought, and there were nothing before it, and they've not really been anything after it. I'd rather have a Norwich City.
Right, okay, we'll get down to that.
Who didn't win a Premier League, but actually have more respectability, I think, in being a Premier League dream.
They were in like Europe in the early 90s.
Yeah,
like
Jeremy
Chris Sutton
Goss,
played against Bayern and
Royal
Fox. All the Foxes. We have got the Foxes in there. Right, so next I've got is maybe the most contentious one, just because I'm saying it. I've got Birmingham City.
Nah.
What?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Just don't think of Birmingham City in the Premier League, I'm afraid.
What do you mean? They were part of that sort of peak era of, maybe because you're a little bit older, maybe this is where the sort of 2 generations,
well,
where there is a big divide.
I remember fancy Premier League and having Ben Foster, Johnson and Scott Dan in my team, and they were very good at keeping clean sheets.
We finished 9th that year.
Yeah, very good at it.
No, sorry, Foster wasn't there.
But I don't see Birmingham... look, I think it's very exciting what Birmingham City are doing at the moment, and I think they've got a future to write, but my biggest bone of contention with Birmingham City is just that they don't really have a history in the Premier League that makes me put them in the top 20. So their future is to be written, but I would not put them in there. I'd put West Brom ahead of them.
Right. Stop the video.
No, I think West Brom have got more of a Premier League top 20 status in my footballing heritage than Birmingham City.
I feel physically sick after that.
Yeah, it's an honest answer.
Yeah, it's an honest answer, and that's what I brought you on for.
Maybe even Stoke.
Steady now. Stoke could be in there actually. That's not
Stoke would be in there for a lot of people as well. I think you're right. I think it is an age thing, because I would definitely put Sheffield Wednesday in.
Really?
100%. And that might be a bit of an age thing, but Sheffield Wednesday, I think it's... a lot of people used to say about Forest when they weren't in the Premier League for so long, oh, they're a Premier League club. For me, Sheffield Wednesday are a Premier League club, and younger people are like, what is he talking about? But in the formulative years of the Premier League, the Chris Waddles, the Paul Warhurst, the John Sheridans, the Carlton Palmers, I mean, they got to 2 finals, which is not Premier League, but they were a very good...
Cameo era, pushing the referee over.
They were a very good Premier League side for the first... 10, 15 years of it probably, and they would 100% be in for me.
Okay, well, I'll put those down on the maybe list. So you're doing West Brom for Birmingham. That's been our first one where we've had to change. Next, I've got Sunderland on my list.
Yeah, again, a bit like the Midlands, you can have too many northeast.
I'm not doing Middlesbrough.
No.
I'm not doing Middlesbrough. I just, nothing against them. I'm not doing it.
Middlesbrough for me might be there over Sunderland because of people like Janino. They were
Brian Robson in the top half and bottom half.
Got to a cup final, played in Europe.
Well, I mean, this is your list in my list. I've gone for Sunderland. If you want to put Middlesbrough there now, because I know
but then you got Kevin Phillips at Sunderland. I mean,
Kevin Phillips, Niall Quinn, Golden Boot winner.
Yeah, I think Sunderland or Middlesbrough might be a flip of the coin, so I'll go with you on that.
Okay, we go with Sunderland on that. Next, I've got Southampton, who, when you look at it, I've had a few relegations
more from the past than.
Well, no, but they went down for the 1 or 2 years. No, for the 1 year. They've had peak
the Matt Le Tissier years.
Matt Le Tissier era, but then you got the Adam Lallana, Ricky Lambert, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Schneiderlin. So I think they need to be.
I do like the addition of Southampton, to be fair, because I think again traditionally for me they would be a
geography as well.
Yeah, they would be a good Premier League side. Remember the Dell?
Oh, I love the Dell.
Yeah.
I used to live near the
Alan Shearer started there.
Exactly.
Don't think he played Premier League football for them. Maybe he did. Maybe he might have did. Yeah.
And then, so this is where the bone of contention comes from. 17th, I've got Bolton Wanderers. Because to me, that Sam Allardyce era team, they have got a big fan base, and I believe they would add something to a Premier League going forward.
Well, this is where it's important to me because it's recency bias, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're talking about Premier League era, and Bolton definitely had their chapter in the Premier League. JJ Okocha was a brilliant individualistic player who would, for me, be probably in my top 30 favourite Premier League players just because of that individualism to take people on and shoot and score. They also were the nemesis of Arsenal for a couple of years. And sort of had the Premier League on lockdown for a couple of years under Allardyce, where they were almost being spoken about as a top 4 side because they could just they had the capability of getting good results, and he'd always go and pull off some foreign player from somewhere.
Wow.
Pull in, sorry.
That's how he got him.
Bolton's a good contender. I mean, we'll have to. I mean, how many number? What we up to?
That's number 17 for me.
Okay, mate, they're probably going to make it then.
Then I've put Norwich, Stoke down, and then 20th I've got left blank. You've said Sheffield Wednesday. We've also got to bring into consideration what I call the London clubs, the cute London clubs.
Well, I like QPR. Les Ferdinand, Darren Peacock, Trevor Sinclair.
But then also into that mix, we've not even spoke about Fulham, Crystal Palace or Brentford.
Yeah. Brentford and Fulham would be a very much last decade contender.
But Fulham are making memories for this.
Yeah. QPR would be a definite first decade contender. And Crystal Palace have been very consistent as a Premier League club. I mean, Wimbledon would be a consideration.
Wimbledon.
Right in the early days.
I mean, but you speak about chapters. That feels like a chapter.
Yeah. I think Crystal Palace have got to be in there.
Okay.
For longevity.
Over Fulham?
For longevity, Palace have got to be in there, yeah.
Okay. Let's put those...
I mean, someone's probably going to put in the chat now, did you know that Crystal Palace have only been in for 25% of the Premier League? But it feels like they've been around forever.
Yeah, and they've got an early 90s heritage.
Yeah.
Obviously, they came out, but then came back up.
Chris Armstrong.
So, do you want QPR in over like a Bolton, a Norwich, a Stoke City?
I would like QPR to be in there over a Stoke City because they were around for a very long time. They had some good players, Andy Sinton, Les Ferdinand,
really
like I said.
your age now.
QPR for me were a traditional Premier League club like Sheffield Wednesday. I would look back on QPR and go, yeah, proper Premier League club. It's been a long. But you know what? Time catches up with them.
And do you want Sheffield Wednesday in there?
Yeah.
Over a Bolton for you? Bolton or a Norwich?
Got to lose Bolton or Norwich. It's close. I'll get rid of.
Oh,
I'll get rid of Norwich because Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich for me are early. I like them because of what they were at the start.
Okay.
And I can't be overly. Because I've got QPR in there as well.
Yeah.
And
Bolton have a balance.
Bolton have got to be a team from the sort of noughties, haven't they?
Right, get yours in down below. Let's go through mine and Mark's list. We've all agreed on Arsenal, Liverpool, United City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, Everton, Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham, Leicester, Forest. I've gone for Birmingham City. Mark's gone for West Brom, which is a dagger in the heart and the back, which I'll never recover from.
I'd been off West Brom for Bolton. For Norwich.
For Norwich and Bolton.
Bolton's still in.
Yeah, Bolton's still in for you. And then we've got Southampton.
Get Norwich back in and get West Brom out.
I've gone for Bolton. You've gone for Bolton now, got rid of West Brom. Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday for you. Stoke City for me, QPR for you. And Crystal Palace to round off an ultimate 20 Premier League division. That's why we love football, for nostalgia. Make sure you drop a subscribe. Mark, thanks for joining me so much.
I still think you could throw a Bristol in just for a laugh.
Yeah, but they've got no heritage.
No, but
that maybe that's another division we can do, a geography 11.
Geography. Geography. It'd be nice to have a Premier League. But then again, no one might turn up because they like rugby.
But it's a good night out down there as well. Maybe that's the best night out division we can do next. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, drop a subscribe. Let us know your 20 down below, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.